And welcome back, everybody. Getting a couple videos out for Wednesday on Tuesday because just Wednesdays I spend a lot of the day with my girlfriend because it's one of the only days we both have off together. So it leaves me less time to get some of my other videos done during the day. So if I can get some extras done, particularly during a week of, I think it's just a little advantageous to do so. So from Soulless Spartan, we have the question of Venom. Who would win, Venom or Batman's Rogues Gallery? Essentially, can Venom run the Rogues Gallery that Batman has? Venom, we know, is a symbiote that bonds with individuals. The most famous host is Eddie Brock, which is the one we'll talk about today. He is, in essence, a Spider-Man 2.0 in many ways. He's stronger than Spider-Man. He's got all Spider-Man's abilities, except, I think, the Spider Sense. He does not carry that over, although he is immune to the Spider Sense. He cannot be registered by the Spider Sense, I think is the better way to put it. Strong. He's also got enhanced regeneration. He has shape-shifting capabilities. He's a powerhouse. So to talk about Batman's Rogues Gallery, we basically just kind of run down the list here. Against all the really just humans with just psychological issues, your Two-Faces, Mad Hatters, Victor Zazzes, and Penguins, he literally is going to bite their heads off, eat their brains. Lovely. Okay, end of story. Riddler also. But what about, and Catwoman, I guess, qualifies or not too. But what about the ones that are human but do have an angle to them? For example, the Joker has has Joker gas. Scarecrow has fear toxin. What about those types of characters? The question would become, is Venom immune to any of those effects? We've never seen Venom really be poisoned, as far as I know. But I have to, because there's two different hosts there, or two different beings within the Venom symbiote, within that host body and the symbiote itself, I would go on the limb and say, yes, he should at least be resistant to it. He isn't, yes, the Joker Venom is strong enough to affect individuals as powerful as Wonder Woman or Superman, sure. So aliens aren't immune. But the type of alien that the symbiote is, I think, makes that a little bit trickier to do. Same with the fear toxin. Beyond that, the Venom is also just supremely faster than these guys, so they're probably going down hard as well. Okay, but what about the ones that you could actually say are super enhanced in some way, either through a technology or through a mutation? Your Man-Bats, your Poison Ivies, your Banes, your Mr. Freezes, your Clayfaces, your Killer Crocs. What about them? Well, and by the way, I would also say Ra's al Ghul also would die. He's definitely got the most experience, but he has just no tech on him constantly or consistently enough that he would be able to overcome Venom. Unless he had started studying Venom and would prepare like sonic cannons knowing this thing's weakness, which I guess is possible. So in that sense, because he has the resources for it, Ra's might be the only one, it might be one of the only ones who can actually thoroughly stop him, but only with, ironically, prep time. Okay, so that being said, what about the rest of the, again, the more super-powered side of the Rogues Gallery? What about those guys? Okay, so we've seen the death battle with him and Bane. He would almost certainly be able to take down Bane. Bane just doesn't have the strength feats that Venom has. He just doesn't have it. And B, he's also got a noticeable weakness with his Venom pump, so if that thing gets cut, he's screwed. So Bane goes down. Okay, Bane. Man-Bat is a large flying bat. Unless he is actually able to produce sonic waves, like a sonic attack. So let me actually see if that is something he can do. Because if he can do that, Man-Bat, in fact, actually has a way to legitimately hurt Venom. I'm not saying he'd win, but he does at least have a method to actually injure him. So he does have echolocation to navigate in the function similar to Bat Radar, but that is not the same as a sonic attack. It might be enough to kind of disrupt Venom a little bit, but Man-Bat's not going to have the strength, and nor is Killer Croc going to have the strength. No, your main three individuals in Batman's Rogues Gallery that are going to pose the biggest problem to Venom are Poison Ivy, due to her large level of manipulation of plants, Mr. Freeze, due to his freezing his tech, and Clayface, given the fact that he has He's actually even harder to kill than Venom is in many ways. So let's look at Poison Ivy first. Poison Ivy has access to multiple forms of plant life, mutated plant life, the whole shebang. If we're giving her the best odds here, she's got some of their biggest hitters, her giant mutated monster plants, all that. Venom would struggle to a certain degree, particularly if there are plants that maybe could bond with the symbiote to some degree, and the Venom symbiote maybe leaves its host temporarily to survive, so it doesn't have to take a hit, and bonds with the plant. But then if it bonds with the plant, it will just turn on Ivy. Ivy's pheromones probably won't work on Venom either, as Venom himself, or Venom themselves, is asexual regardless of the host. So it's not like it could be seduced with pheromones. I don't see, even with some of the larger stuff, I don't see Venom losing that fight. More just it's having to take his time with the fight. All right, then what about Mr. Freeze? This is one of the only other individuals in the Batman main rogues gallery anyway. There's also the Professor Pig and all that, but we're talking about the main ones. Who probably could straight up stop Venom. Because his freezing gun is instant, is powerful, and he can just keep the button on that thing, trigger on that thing all day long, and just literally put Venom in a giant block of ice. Yeah, Venom could crack out of a standard block, a certain amount of ice, but if he just keeps the pressure on, the Lord just freeze him in a giant glacier of ice, which by all accounts we could know he could do. There's nothing to stop him from doing that. And Mr. Freeze has range with that weapon. So Venom can attack from a distance, but he's not a ranged fighter per se. Add on that he is a liquid creature that bonds with a more physical host. That liquid, it might freeze itself. So Venom could actually be in some big trouble against Mr. Freeze. That being said, Venom still would be capable of killing Mr. Freeze if he got in close enough, but that's assuming Freeze doesn't drop him first. Honestly, I think Freeze drops him before he is able to fully attack him. Though I could totally see a scenario where he starts to get frozen, realizes I'm getting frozen, I can't move, and then his hand extends. The Venom symbiote starts to reach out further until it basically kind of freezes into a statue with the expanding tendril. So I can see that scenario happening. The last big one to cover, though, would be Clayface. And this is the most difficult one for Venom, because Clayface can take a long time, but can put Venom down. It would take forever, because Venom does have a healing factor, but he can do it because he can shape-shift, make blades, weapons, injure Venom, just as Venom could injure anyone else. Problem for Venom in this fight is he doesn't have a clear-cut answer to Clayface, because Clayface doesn't actually have a physical form. He's a liquid. He's a walking mound of clay that transforms. He's immune to blunt force physical damage, more or less. The only thing you can really do is either use extreme heat. He's shown resistance to electricity depending on the medium, but he's also shown pain to electricity. You need more conventional ways. Heat to harden him up. Electricity to damage him as well. Dilute him with chemicals. You need to do things like that more than anything else. And unfortunately, this is something that just isn't in Venom's kit. Normally, we do have Venom now where he's like the now gold version of Venom where, let me actually see what the Venom symbiote currently is capable of, just to be sure that, because let me put it this way. If we are using God of Light Venom here, and yeah, to be fair, if I'm using God of Light Venom, then everybody on this list dies, because that's the Venom that took down Null. So, who's the god of the goddamn symbionts and a being that's older than the universe itself, who is literally a universal plus individual, if not a low multiversal level individual, who kills Celestials for fun. So, yeah, if I used God of Light Venom here, that would be stupid. Okay, Venom symbiote here. What is the current power? Okay, here we go. Symbiote biology, Peter Parker, body storage, camouflage capabilities, parasitic inheritance, Eddie Brock, superhuman strength, superhuman durability, stamina, healing factor, genetic memory, body chemistry manipulation, constant matter. Yeah, that's shape-shifting more or less. Symbiote assimilation, immunity to spider sense, poison fangs. Okay, all right, poison fangs is something, but it doesn't. Poison fangs are like animal type poison. Envenomation wouldn't work on Clayface because he just doesn't have a physical body to actually inject that in. And even still, there's no guarantee that would even work. That being said, the bite was able to cripple Sam and eventually leaving the villain turned hero unable to reform properly and almost causing his death. Okay, so fair enough. For something like Sand, now to be fair, Sandman may not have been able to turn his body into sand at that point, but still, there's at least a precedent here. The problem is biting into a liquid. I don't know if that would work. Maybe if the venom leaks out, and just melds in with the Clayface's biology, maybe. But I think that's a stretch. He apparently does have, after connecting with the symbiote hive mind of Earth 1051, the symbiote displayed the power to channel energy and fire it back at the opponent by morphing his arms to a cannon similar. However, once it disconnected from Earth, okay, he doesn't have this ability anymore. Flash Thompson's Venom still has every one of these same abilities. Malekith, when he had the Venom symbiote, had psychic control, matter manipulation, he had all the same stuff. I don't know if the Venom symbiote still has this. Matt found one of his own abilities were greatly enhanced. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. Yeah, otherwise, there's not much else, frankly. So, yeah, Clayface, and I'd say Clayface, Mr. Freeze, and Ra's al Ghul. Ra's only if he's got the time to prep. Even then, that's not a guarantee. Mr. Freeze and Clayface are the only ones who stand a legitimate shot at stopping Venom. So yeah, that'd be my thought process on this versus the Venom versus the Batman's Rogues Gallery. He'd probably clear the majority of the rogues. Unfortunately, he's also a cannibal and eats people, so he's legitimately getting rid of the villains on the street. So Gotham becomes a lot safer. And honestly, your only problems at that point are maybe Ra's, who would probably look at the cleanup job he's doing and be like, okay, let's hold on a minute. Clayface is still a problem, but they're going to be just duking it out back and forth for a while. And Freeze, honestly, as long as he's not starting shit to stealing money from banks, because he's focused on his wife most of the time. As long as that's the case, then Freeze is actually kind of harmless in many ways. But otherwise, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Later.